Being adopted was never a secret in our family. My sister Emma made sure of that. At every chance she reminded me that I wasn't real family. "Remember, Lily," she would say at family gatherings, her perfect smile never quite reaching her eyes. "You're only here because of charity, because Daddy has a good heart." For 15 years I endured it. I watched as Emma got the best of everything. Private schools, expensive cars, and unlimited shopping sprees. Meanwhile, Dad insisted I work part-time jobs, learn the value of money, and live modestly. To Emma, this was proof I wasn't truly loved. I didn't understand then. But now I do. Dad owned Wilson Enterprises, a midsize investment firm. As far as anyone knew, Emma strutted around town as the heir apparent, already serving as vice president at just 28. I had chosen a different path, working at a small nonprofit helping underprivileged kids. Emma mocked me constantly, calling it staying in my lane. Everything changed 3 months ago. Dad was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him only weeks. Emma immediately took charge, barely allowing me to visit him. "Family only," she would tell the nurses sweetly, emphasizing the word family while shooting me smug looks. But one afternoon, Dad insisted on seeing me alone. Emma was furious, but she couldn't refuse him, not when he was so weak. "Lily," he whispered, his voice thin, "I need you to know something." He pressed a small key into my palm. "After I'm gone, go to First National Bank, box 2247. Everything will make sense." I wanted to ask more, but Emma burst in, claiming Dad needed rest. That was the last time I spoke to him. 2 days later he was gone. The funeral was exactly as Emma wanted. Grand, expensive, showy. She gave a tearful eulogy about being Dad's only real daughter and how she would carry on his legacy. I sat quietly in the back, the small key burning a hole in my pocket. Then came the will reading. Emma swept into the lawyer's office in designer clothes, glowing with anticipation. Her husband James, a senior manager at Wilson Enterprises, looked equally confident. The room was full of executives, all expecting Emma to take control. Mr. Harrison, Dad's lawyer for 30 years, cleared his throat. "Before we begin, Mr. Wilson left a video message." Emma smirked. Daddy always had a flair for drama. The screen lit up. Dad appeared, looking frail but resolute. "If you're watching this, I'm gone," he began. "And it's time for the truth to come out." He paused, then said the words that silenced the room. "Wilson Enterprises is only the tip of the iceberg. For 30 years, I've built an empire in secret, 15 companies, all operating independently, worth a combined $4.2 billion. The room erupted in gasps. Emma's confident smile faltered. "Emma," Dad continued, his voice firm, "you spent your life believing you were entitled to everything. You bullied your sister, thinking being my biological daughter made you special. You were wrong." Emma's face went pale. "Lily," Dad's eyes seemed to meet mine through the screen, "that key I gave you opens a safety deposit box. Inside you'll find all the documentation. While Emma played executive at Wilson Enterprises, you were learning real lessons: humility, hard work, compassion. That's why you, my beloved adopted daughter, are the sole heir to everything." Chaos broke out. Emma shot to her feet, screaming, "This isn't possible." But Dad wasn't finished. "Wilson Enterprises was a test, Emma. One you failed spectacularly. Your arrogance, your cruelty, your disregard for others. I saw it all. The true empire requires a leader with a heart." Mr. Harrison stopped the video and produced a thick folder. The official documents naming me, Lily Wilson, as CEO and sole owner of all 15 companies, including Wilson Enterprises. Emma lunged at the papers, but security, already prepared, blocked her. "This isn't over," she shrieked. "I'm his real daughter. His blood." "Blood doesn't make a family," I said quietly, standing. "Dad taught me that, not through words but through lessons you never cared to learn." I pulled out the key. "Shall we see what's in that safety deposit box, Mr. Harrison?" Emma's face twisted with rage. "You can't do this. The board will never support you." James suddenly looked up from his phone. "The stock price just jumped 30% on news of the leadership change," he announced. "The market has spoken." Emma turned to him in shock. "James." But he was already walking toward me, hand extended. "Miss Wilson, I look forward to working under your leadership." Emma collapsed into her chair, mascara streaking down her face. I felt no triumph, only a deep understanding of why Dad had arranged things this way. But this was just the beginning. Inside the safety deposit box, we found meticulously organized files. Tech startups, real estate developments, renewable energy projects, and more. Each folder contained not just legal documents but also personal notes from Dad, explaining why he had chosen me. One note read, "While Emma demanded a new car, you volunteered at homeless shelters. When she wasted money, you saved for college. You have the heart this empire needs." And then came the greatest revelation of all. Second video message. "Hello, Lily," Dad smiled warmly. "If you're watching this, you already know about your inheritance. But there's more. Remember all those part-time jobs I made you work? The internships at small companies? Those weren't random. Each was a subsidiary of our empire. Your supervisors have been reporting to me for years about your kindness, your work ethic, your leadership." My mind reeled. Every job, every summer internship, every project had been part of his secret empire. Dad's voice softened. "Even your current job, the nonprofit, that's part of our charitable foundation. Without knowing it, you've been running a multimillion-dollar operation. And Lily, you've done it beautifully." Tears blurred my vision. For the first time I truly understood. Dad had been preparing me all along. And now it was my turn to lead. Emma's screams echoed from the hallway, interrupting the video. She was being escorted out by security, still protesting that blood mattered more than anything else. Over the next few weeks, the truth about Dad's empire unfolded. Each company was more impressive than the last. Tech startups, renewable energy projects, real estate ventures. All hidden under different names to avoid attention. But the most surprising revelation wasn't the businesses. It was the people. Sarah, from my very first summer job, turned out to be a Harvard MBA assessing my management skills. Mike, the janitor I'd always chatted with at the nonprofit, was actually a senior strategist evaluating my character. Everyone I had worked with over the years had been secretly reporting back to Dad. Emma didn't take her disinheritance quietly. She hired lawyers claiming mental incompetence, undue influence, anything she could think of. But Dad had prepared for that too. "Your sister will fight," his next video predicted. "So I've arranged something special." That something special came to light at the emergency board meeting. Emma arrived with an army of lawyers, confident she could win over the board with her supposed experience. But instead of familiar faces, the room was filled with strangers. "Allow me to introduce the Real board," Mr. Harrison announced. "Representatives from all 15 companies. They've been watching both of you for years." One by one they stood and shared their observations. Miss Emma Wilson routinely belittled employees. Miss Lily Wilson stayed late to help junior staff. Emma fired people for minor mistakes. Lily created mentorship programs. With each statement, Emma's face grew paler. Her lawyers shifted uncomfortably. Then came the final blow. "Your father," Mr. Harrison declared, "left one last condition in his will. Any legal challenge to Lily's leadership triggers an immediate clause. All of Emma's shares in Wilson Enterprises, the 2% she actually owns, will be donated to the charitable foundation Lily runs." Emma's lawyers quickly ushered her out. James, however, stayed behind. "I knew," he admitted quietly. "Your father told me years ago. My job was to watch Emma, to give her chances to change. She never did." The next few months were intense. I traveled between all 15 companies, learning their operations, meeting employees, and understanding Dad's vision. To everyone's surprise except maybe Dad's, I took to it naturally. All those years of diverse jobs had prepared me perfectly. Emma tried one last desperate move, a press conference. She planned to expose everything and paint herself as the victim. But instead she faced reporters armed with full documentation of her mismanagement and abuse of employees. One reporter asked bluntly, "Isn't it true Wilson Enterprises stock has risen 45% since your sister took over?" The cameras caught Emma storming out. 6 months after Dad's passing, I stood in his old office, staring at a photo of us from my college graduation. Emma had refused to attend, claiming she was too busy. But Dad had beamed with pride anyway. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. It was Emma. She looked different, tired, subdued. "The charitable foundation," she said quietly. "I heard they're helping people learn business skills. People who Who needs second chances? I nodded, already understanding what she wasn't quite asking. Class starts Monday at 9, I replied. Don't be late. She turned to leave, then hesitated. I'm sorry, she whispered so softly I almost missed it. For everything. I know, I answered gently. Dad knew you had it in you too. That's why he arranged all this. After she left, I opened Dad's last letter, the one marked open when Emma apologizes. My dear Lily, it read. If you're reading this, the real work begins. Leading companies is important, but leading people back to their better selves. That's the true legacy I wanted to leave. Take care of your sister. Take care of our people. And remember, I chose you not because she failed, but because you succeeded at being human first and a businesswoman second. Today the empire runs smoothly. Emma started at entry level in the foundation, finally learning the lessons Dad had tried to teach us both. The nonprofits programs have expanded to 50 cities. That old graduation photo sits on my desk, but beside it now is a newer one. Emma and me at the foundation's first graduation ceremony, both of us smiling. Real smiles this time. Dad built an empire in secret, but his greatest achievement wasn't the money or the companies. It was teaching 2 daughters, one by blood, one by choice, that true wealth isn't in what you own but in how you treat others. Sometimes at night I walk through the empty office, remembering the little girl who thought she wasn't real family. Dad knew better. He knew family isn't about blood. It's about love, learning, and sometimes learning to love again. Emma's office at the foundation isn't as grand as her old one, but last week, I saw her stay late to help a struggling student with their business plan. When she caught me watching, she smiled. A real smile, like when we were kids before money and status poisoned everything. That's when I knew Dad's plan had worked perfectly. He hadn't just left me an empire. He'd given Emma a chance to find her soul. And in the end, that was worth more than all 15 companies combined.